So this is the Navigator Pro Connect QR, and we're talking about how to replace this grommet. So there's a sort of soft rubberized part here at the top of the spinning handle, and this stops sand from getting inside the QR mechanism. So if you put your QR on the beach and sand's blowing, then this just stops it from getting in, but it's soft enough that it still allows it to release when it needs to. Now if you'd noticed that this was, I don't know, starting to crack, or you could see some sort of damage, then you might want to think about replacing this. So we've got the replacement grommet here. We've got some multi grips, we've got a drift punch, and we've got a little jig that helps us replace these parts. So the first thing you're going to want to do is run your lines out on your control system, and then grab onto your landing line, pull that through until you get to this little loop-to-loop connection, the front flying line. If you push them together, those little loops come apart. Now keep on pulling on the landing line until it goes all the way through the loop of the flying line, and you can pull that apart and pop it over there for later. Now grab this little jig and pop that on top of there. If you don't have the jig, we're hoping to make this jig available online, a 3D printable part, at a later stage, so you can check down in the information on this video. But get your drift punch, and you'll notice on the side there's some little dimples. You're going to want to push down on these firmly until that pin drops out the bottom. Now you can do this without the tool, but it's just a little more fiddly. So that little jewel pins come out, and now it allows the spinning handle to fall apart. So we can put that one aside. We can pull the bottom spinning handle off the shaft, and what I do is just let the shaft fall out the bottom, and you can pull this handle, the QR handle, right up and just over to the side, and it sits there on its own. Now this little locking shaft, you can pull that out and just hold on to the grommet, and that pulls out quite easily. Now that one's a bit damaged, so I'm going to get a nice new one. So you'll notice on this grommet there's these two little cutaways here, so it's quite critical which way you put this back in. So you want those little cutouts to be facing the same direction as this little bungee plate on the top. So it's quite flexible, so you can just push that down and into place, give it a little wiggle, and what I do is I grab the handle and I look at it from the inside, and you want to make sure those little grooves, you can pinch it and twist it a bit if you need to. Make sure those little cutouts are aligning with these rails here. Those cutouts are just creating a little space for those rails. Give it a little twist. Make sure it's all in place. Now by getting this locking shaft again, you'll notice there's an end that has a bit of a flat on it. That's the end that you push into here. And so just line it up and give it a little wiggle. That's also going to help the grommet go into position. Make sure it's free to move up and down, and then we can twist. Just got the bungee a bit tangled, but push that around. Now that's good to go, and you should be able to slide the shaft back up into place. Now notice there's these little cutaway grooves in the shaft. You're going to want to align that with the holes in the spinning handle, and that's where this pin's going to go through. I'll just flip the bar over, get my trusty jig again. Now you want to put the pin through on the side that has the slot. So line those up, feed the flying line back through. And another thing you have to do is make sure this little keyway here lines up with the keyway on the bottom spinning handle. Pop it back on my jig. pin through. Kind of push it a little bit, and then I grab onto the end of the shaft, give it a little wiggle, and you'll feel when it's going into that slot properly. And you can take it off, grab your multi-grips, and give that a bit of a squeeze and drive it home. If you didn't have multi-grips, you could give it a tap with a hammer also. And so you want this pin to be nice and flush here and flush on this side also. Give it a check. You'll notice there is a little gap under the spinning handle here. It's a little 0.5mm gap, and that's what allows it to spin nice and freely. So next, I'm just going to grab that same landing line, feed it through the loop, feed it through itself. It's really important that this loop-to-loop connection, there's no twists in it, and you'll see it's making a bit of a figure 8. Once it's good, you can tighten that up. You want that to be as small as possible so it pulls through the tubing nice and cleanly. So grab on above the power bracket, above the red power ball, you can pull the flying line, pull that landing line back into position. So I'll just give it a quick check, make sure that's going freely, click it in, and you're good to go.